Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a legal story out of Australia that, honestly, almost sounds made up. We're talking about one couple, one judge, and one trial that leads to two completely different destinies. So how on earth can the same person appeal twice, lose one completely, and then win the other in a total landslide? Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this puzzle. You've got a mother appealing two different decisions, but they're both from the same judge. The first appeal, about her child, gets shot down, flat out rejected. But the second appeal, about their money and assets, a complete and total victory. The judge's entire decision just gets thrown out. It's a crazy paradox that tells us so much about how the justice system actually works. So what was the big difference?
All right, our story kicks off on the first battlefield, the future of their child. And when I say battlefield, I mean it. After splitting up, these parents were on completely different planets about how to raise their kid, and the courtroom became this intense tug-of-war for control.
And you can see just how far apart they were. The mother's position was basically, look, we can't communicate, it's a mess, we're always fighting. For our child's stability, I need to be the one making the final calls. But the father, he saw things totally differently. He was pushing for an equal 50-50 partnership, arguing he needed to be deeply involved in all the big decisions in his child's life.
So, imagine you're the judge, stuck right in the middle of this. The mother presents a ton of evidence showing they just couldn't cooperate, and you'd think that's a pretty strong case, right? But the judge looked a little closer. He saw that the mother herself had said things that suggested maybe they could fix the relationship. And, this is the really crucial part, he leaned on a neutral expert, a family consultant, who had looked at the whole situation from the outside.
And this is where everything just flips on its head. The expert came in with this powerful, counterintuitive warning. They basically said that giving one parent all the control wouldn't fix the conflict. It might actually make things worse by creating this huge power imbalance. The wild solution they proposed? Forcing the parents to share responsibility might be the only way to actually get them to cooperate for the sake of their child.
So when the mother appealed, the higher court looked at the judge's logic and said, yeah, that makes sense. They saw that he had weighed all the evidence and made a balanced, reasoned call. In the legal world, this is what's known as a discretionary judgment, and it's incredibly hard to get one of those overturned. So the mother's first appeal failed. But the fight over the money? Well, that was a whole different story.
Now let's pivot to battlefield number 2, the money. The fight over the family's assets was just as fierce, but this time the outcome wasn't going to hinge on a judge's opinion. Oh no, this was going to come down to a single, critical, and frankly sloppy mistake.
Right from the very start, there was a massive problem. The couple couldn't even agree on the total value of their assets. You know, the size of the pie they were trying to split. Their estimates were more than $80,000 apart. A gap that big, you just knew this was going to get messy.
So the mother argued that based on her contributions and her future needs, she deserved a huge share, like 80 to 85%. The father pushed back, saying 70% was fair. And where did the judge land? Almost exactly where the father proposed. He awarded the mother about 70% and denied her request for any spousal support. And that decision is what sparked the appeal that changed everything.
But here's the thing. The judge's ruling wasn't just a matter of opinion this time. Buried deep in his calculations was a fundamental mistake, a flaw in the actual process that was so significant his entire financial judgment was about to crumble.
So get this, the judge based his entire financial split on a list of assets that the father's team submitted after the hearing was already over. This list was, to put it mildly, a mess. It was missing huge things like property and cars. It didn't list a single debt. And most importantly, the mother had never, ever agreed to it. But for some reason, the judge decided to treat this incomplete, unagreed upon list as the final word. This wasn't just a crack in the foundation. This was a sinkhole.
This is where the story takes its most dramatic turn. Faced with such a clear and undeniable mistake, the mother, of course, launched her appeal. But the father's response was something absolutely nobody saw coming.
He just conceded. Before the appeal hearing could even really begin, the father's lawyers basically admitted that the original judge messed up. He agreed that the mother was right, that a miscarriage of justice had happened, and that her appeal on the money should be granted. He essentially just surrendered.
And just like that, the entire property ruling was thrown out, sent back to square one to be decided all over again by a new judge. It's an incredible story. But what are the real lessons we can take away from this tale of two completely different appeals?
So here's the first big takeaway. You can't appeal a court decision just because you don't like it.
You have to prove the judge made a specific error in the law or in the procedure. The mother lost the first appeal because the judge's decision was a reasonable judgment call. She won the second one because she could point to a clear rule that had been broken.
And this really gets to the absolute core of the case. The custody ruling was an act of judicial discretion. The judge weighed the facts and made a choice. It's like a referee's judgment call. It's really hard to challenge. The property ruling, on the other hand, was a legal error. He just didn't follow the basic rulebook. One is a judgment call, the other is a broken rule. And that makes all the difference on appeal.
And what about the father's shocking surrender? Why did he just give up? Because it was a brilliant strategic move. By admitting the error was obvious, he avoided a long, expensive legal battle he was almost guaranteed to lose anyway. It saved him time, saved him money, and it made him look like the reasonable one to the court. Sometimes, the smartest move is knowing when to fold.
So what this whole tale of two appeals really leaves us with is this. In the eyes of the law, the final decision is only half the story. The process, how you get there, is everything. It's a powerful reminder that even if an outcome feels right, it means absolutely nothing if the rules weren't followed. Because true justice isn't just about winning, it's about winning the right way.